Hi guys and welcome back to Christian Cast where I do ironing tutorials so you don't have to. So today we're actually going to be doing a bait build with help of a iron, and we're going to be doing some hot stamping for the first time I think on the channel properly. I tried some foiling already as well, but that was not a hot stamping foil, it was just a normal foil that you put over the bait itself and you have to seal it in, and that was always a little bit of a trouble with the foil coming out of the UV resin and just not being able to finish the lure quite as clean as I would like it to. Um, so we're going to take one of our lipless crankbaits today, with a small rattle ball added actually in the front of the nose, that there's a little bit more weight towards the top in this one, and I'm really looking forward to see how that actually goes. And we'll also be doing the hot stamping. As I said, there's a lot of differences with foils. I had actually quite a lot of trouble. I ordered different ones. Some actually need a binding agent between, some actually don't. Today we're going to be using one that just works by itself, I hope at least. Um, so we'll be looking into that a little bit. I'll pop you guys over to the desk straight away and we'll start looking into the primitive setup I've got for the hot stamping itself. And then we'll straight away hot stamp it, give it a little bit of a airbrushing finish and clear coat it, and then we'll see how the lure turns out and if the hot stamping actually works as I wanted to, or if we still have to improve some things and test some different foils and things like that. So I'll pop you guys over and we'll get started. So, as you guys can see, I have prepared our lure blank, nicely sealed it with super glue. You shouldn't use a water-based color on the lure before adding hot stamping foil, so we're actually going to leave it as a semi see-through lure today and just clean up the edges then with the airbrush afterwards, after adding the hot stamping foil. And I've got this very see-through and subtle hot stamping foil that we'll be adding to our lure today, and I cut it to size already, and we'll be adding it along the side like this, and we're gonna hope for a nice shimmering effect. Now I put the iron on the silicone mat, and it should be, I'm not too sure about the temperature. I just know that with my iron it is between 2 and 3 dots. That worked the last time. So you'll see straight away when the silicone reaches the temperature, it actually goes darker. So we'll straight away take this off to the side and take our lure, place it there, and just give it a good push. And then we'll repeat this once more, that I really can add a lot of pressure onto the surface, because I see that I'm not all over on yet as I would like it to be, so I will just pull this out towards me a bit more, then that I can add a little bit more pressure onto our lure. And now I'll place it on once again and really squeeze it in there. So that should now actually be quite nicely on, and now we will go ahead and take off the foil, and as you see, it transferred quite nicely. There's a little spot down here that I'm not quite happy with, but we will maybe just add another little piece of foil over there before going into the airbrushing. So now we'll heat this up one more time and do the other side, and then we will be ready for the airbrushing itself. As you all know, this is the first time, but I'm actually quite happy with the result. We'll see how it comes out under the clear coat and plays with the light. Once that is done, I'll still do a little bit of airbrushing at the eye, and otherwise keep it quite natural today, from the printed filament, and then we'll see how that actually looks. that is not quite done yet. And the thing is, if I really like the optic of the foiling and like the process itself, it gives you a quick way how to add details on a lure like this. And I'll actually be cutting this and making a clamping device that you don't actually have to squeeze it by hand anymore, and you've got a bit more leverage. And then the stamping also should be a bit easier and not as primitive as I'm doing right now. So I'll get you guys back. I'll actually quickly stamp this one more time, then we'll pull it off, see how that side turned out, and then we'll straight away go ahead, prepare everything for the airbrushing. So this side sadly didn't work as well. So we're still gonna see, as I said, if we can add another small piece right there, and then we'll carry on with the airbrushing once I fix this, and I'll show you the result. So after actually just adding a second layer and really applying a lot of pressure, I was able to really peel it off quite cleanly. You see a little bit the dimples from the mat because the temperature wasn't quite right, but I'm actually quite happy with the result, and it will come out a lot clearer under the actual UV coat. So we will now quickly clean up the top a bit. I'm not too sure what I'm gonna do, and also a little bit the bottom, and then we'll straight away add some eyes and put it into the UV harding state, and then we'll take a look how it looks once we're done. So we've added some silver, and I'll try to be very gentle today that we don't cover up too much of the sticker or foil. Because we don't want to lose anything of that very shiny business. So I'll let that set now quickly, and then we're actually going to darken it down with a little bit of blue from the top, because now we just actually made a nice transfer to the foil because it's also silverish. And then we'll do a little bit of blue and a white belly with a yellow snout, and then we'll leave it for the clear coat to see how it actually really turns out if you just base coat a 3D printed lure with a foil like this. There's different foils then as well that aren't as see-through, that you wouldn't have the inside of the lure come through that much, but we'll anyway see that in the future because I'm going to get some more foils and different foils and test them all out to see how they actually all perform. So now we've got our blue, and we'll grab our lure and just go ahead and so there we've got our blue. Now we're gonna go ahead and still add our metallic medium to the belly, and then just a little bit of yellow towards the top, and then we will be quite finished with the lure for today. So now I added the metallic medium, and we're gonna go over the snout. So now with darken down the belly a little bit. I'll still clean it up a bit, but not too much that we don't lose too much of the shimmer. And then we'll still go ahead, add a little bit of yellow for a flash, and that's gonna be it for this lure today. Then we'll add some eyes and throw it into the UV coat and see what we end up with. Well, I've got our lemon yellow in our airbrush, and now we're just gonna go ahead and now we've got it on the front. And then I'll just go a little bit on the tail still. Just like that. I got a little speck because I didn't watch out too much. There we go. Got it off, and now we will leave him just like this and go into the clear coat in the next step. I was thinking of maybe darkening the eyes to a bit of black. Maybe I'll still do that. I'm also not too sure if I'll add actually fins this time, because actually we just want to do a foiling video and just keep it quite simple and see how it looks under the clear coat. So maybe I'll just leave it as is, glue in some eyes, and then go over into the UV coat. So I don't know if it really picks up well, but that is what we're working with. Now I smudged a bit of the pen on the yellow, but we don't really care that much. Just leave it. And now I'm just gonna go ahead, add some nice blue eyes, and then we'll head over into our clear coating process once again. Still not finished with my UV curing box, but we're getting there. The lights actually have quite a long time for delivery, so I'm still waiting on the second part of the lights and also a second motor, because I decided to straight away order a separate motor because this one is too quick, as we saw in the video, and I don't want it to speed along. Actually, you want it to go on a very nice and steady turn. So that is what we're going to be working with for the clear coat. I'm actually hoping that the scales come through a lot better once the clear coat goes over, and we'll see that anyway in the next step. I'll quickly glue in the second eye, and then I'll get you guys back for the clear coat. We are ready now for the clear coat. I'm really looking forward to my hardening station, because I'm also going to start dipping my baits and not covering them like I do right now, because it's a lot more efficient, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then I will get on top of the game of UV coating. So now I'll just show you how it actually comes out underneath our clear coat. So that is really cool. It is very shiny. I'm sure it will play with the light very well. And now I'll finish everything up, set it off to dry, and then I'll get you guys back once it is hardened, and still go through some things in the outro that I would like to change and try in the future. Just to quickly show you what I mean with the motor is a little bit too quick, and I also still need some more UV lights, because I would like to mount 2 on the roof, as I went through in the video last week, 1 on the back and 1 on the front panel, that we have got 3 directions of the UV light, and I got 2 panels the same size as I'm now using, and we'll go ahead and enclose everything, still put in some aluminium foil. I don't know if you guys actually saw that video, otherwise I'll pop it up here or there where I go through all the design features and what I'm actually planning and thinking of with the mounting system and things like that for the future. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll see you guys shortly for the outro. Hi guys, and welcome back to the outro. So our lure is actually finished, and I do like the shimmering optic quite a lot. I don't know if it actually picks up well enough that you guys can actually see it. So I saw that it didn't focus in the outro, so I quickly decided to show you guys how the pattern works. But I'll also make a short to it and show you guys how it looks when it's outside and maybe even in the water, because we've got our rattles in and everything, and I want to test that. I might even think about adding a second coat of UV resin to really seal it completely, because then we could also take this bait and test it in water and see how it holds up to it, because it's hasn't got a joint, and it would be interesting to see and compare that to the swim bait with that test that we did. If you didn't see the test where I strength tested one of the big swim baits, I might pop it up here or there and you guys can check it out. And now to the foiling process itself, things I would like to change is to really find foils that work very well, because as you saw today as well, if the temperature is a little bit off, they don't stick to it straight away. And I'll also make a clamping device. I'll take you guys with on that. It's going to be something very easy. I'm just going to take a hinge and two wood pieces and actually mount the silicone on there, that we can actually just squeeze on our foil. Maybe I'll make a hinge that is a bit broader, that also if we put broader baits or something like that, I'll still think about how I want to set that up. And once I know how I want to set that up, I'll make maybe a video to it, and we'll also get into hot stamping a little bit more, because I actually really like the optic. It gives it a very nice, yeah, scale pattern that you don't have to paint. It's very quickly to add. You can still airbrush over it without a problem, and you don't have a problem with putting over a clear coat afterwards anymore. So that is really cool. If you have any tips or know where I can get the proper hot stamping foil, or if you've got ideas, please reach out to me in the comments. And otherwise, keep on fishing and stay safe, and we'll see each other next week's video.